Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever had a brilliant idea for an app, or maybe just a custom internal tool for your own work, but you felt completely paralyzed by that massive wall of programming languages, syntax errors, and server deployments, well, I have great news. That wall, it's completely collapsed. For decades, creating software was locked behind this incredibly steep, frustrating language barrier, right? You basically had to learn how to speak machine. But today, we're looking at a brand new era where simply describing what you want is literally the only technical skill you need. The translation layer is officially gone.
Okay, so let's dive right into this massive shift. Check this out. I recently built a fully working, totally custom business dashboard from scratch, and it took me under 10 minutes. Zero coding required. None. To put that into perspective, in the traditional world, just scoping out a project, setting up your coding environment, picking a framework, and fixing that very first inevitable bug, that takes a seasoned developer hours if not days. The fact that a complete novice can now go from a totally blank screen to a functional piece of software in the exact time it takes to brew a cup of coffee, that absolutely changes the entire math of software creation.
So let's look at exactly how this 10-minute dashboard actually came to life. I created this specifically for my YouTube workflow. You see, I needed a highly specific internal tool to just manage my day-to-day content creation. We're also used to juggling, 5 different generic software subscriptions, and we end up bending our own habits to fit their rigid off-the-shelf templates. You usually have to adapt your workflow to the software, but here, the software adapts entirely to you. The barrier to creating hyper-personalized tools that actually work the way your brain works, has just vanished.
Listen to the exact prompt I used to make this happen. No technical jargon, just natural language. I literally just typed out this single sentence. I didn't specify that I wanted it built in Python or JavaScript, and I definitely didn't go hunting around the internet for software libraries. I spoke to the AI exactly like I would speak to a human collaborator sitting right across the desk from me. And from that single sentence alone, it built the interface, it structured the visual layout, and it wrote all the underlying logic to make the whole thing actually run. Crazy, right?
This brings us to a revolutionary concept that is just cutting through all the industry noise right now. It's called vibe coding. Now I know, despite sounding like something you do at a dusty music festival out in the desert, it actually represents a fundamental rewiring of how human beings interact with computers and how digital products are brought into the world. It's an approach that entirely removes the friction between a human idea and a digital reality. It allows you to focus 100% on the output rather than getting bogged down in the mechanics of getting there.
So what exactly does vibe coding mean in actual practice? Well, it means the AI is no longer just your autocomplete assistant. It's not just finishing your sentences or, fixing a typo while you do all the heavy lifting of the architectural design. No, it acts as the lead engineer. It builds the entire architecture from the ground up based purely on your natural language prompt. You simply describe the functionality you want, and the AI translates that human desire into thousands of lines of perfectly formatted code.
We're stepping out of an incredibly fragile paradigm. Think about it. In the old way of working, writing precise traditional code meant a single missing semicolon could crash your entire system, leaving you hunting for errors for hours. It was a nightmare. But now, newer generative models are getting unbelievably good at capturing your intent. Even if your initial idea is messy or maybe poorly articulated, the AI acts as this brilliant translator. It figures out what you're trying to achieve and turns your imperfect human thoughts into perfect code. You don't need perfect prompts anymore. You just need clear intent.
So how do you actually do this yourself? Let's look at a super practical framework you can use to start vibe coding today. It is remarkably straightforward, and honestly, the best part is that you don't need to sign up for a 6-month coding bootcamp to figure it out. You don't need a computer science degree. You just need to know how to hold a logical conversation and clearly articulate the problem you are trying to solve.
It all breaks down into 3 really simple steps. First, pick an AI-powered coding workspace. Tools like Cursor, Opediv, or Codeex are really leading the pack right now. These look just like regular text editors, but they have a powerful AI brain directly wired into the files. Second, let the AI generate a rough first version. And third, refine it. That's the whole shebang. It really is just a conversational loop, and it completely democratizes the creation process for literally anyone willing to try.
Let's break that down. For step 1, your request can be incredibly basic. You might just type, "Build me a dashboard that tracks my business metrics." You feed that into your workspace, and the AI goes right to work on step 2, generating your first draft. Now keep in mind, this first pass, it won't be absolutely perfect right out of the gate. And actually, that is exactly how it's supposed to be. It's generating a structural foundation for you to react to, which sets up the absolute most crucial part of the workflow.
Step 3 is where the real magic happens. Because vibe coding is highly iterative, you just talk to it to refine the product. You look at the result and say, hey, make this layout cleaner. It feels so much less like traditional programming and significantly more like giving verbal feedback to a junior designer who then instantly implements your changes.
You can tell it something like, add a pie chart right here. Instantly, the interface updates. Think about how we used to do this. In the past, adding a chart meant hunting for a specific charting library, painstakingly mapping your data to the correct axes, and fixing just endless visual bugs. Now, you just point out what you want, ask for it in plain English, and the AI handles all of that invisible complexity in a matter of seconds.
Or even something as simple as change the color scheme to match my brand. You're iterating on the fly at the literal speed of thought. You're no longer the typist hunched over a keyboard writing syntax. You've basically been elevated to the role of creative director. You're evaluating the product, spotting areas for improvement, and requesting adjustments, all while your AI handles the heavy lifting in the background.
This incredibly fast-paced workflow unlocks what we call the builder advantage. When the time between having an idea and having a working prototype drops to near zero, how you solve problems fundamentally changes. You aren't just limited to building simple, static pages anymore. You can easily push this technology to handle highly dynamic, really complex operations. Imagine instantly responding to a persistent business bottleneck by just spinning up a brand new, custom tool that very same afternoon.
For instance, you can tell your new dashboard to automatically pull in daily data from your email or your calendar, summarize those complex metrics into easy-to-read insights, and update itself every morning before you even wake up. You are essentially spinning up a custom, automated employee that works around the clock. It's perfectly tailored to your precise workflow, and you brought the whole thing into existence without ever looking at a single line of code.
So the absolute key takeaway here is this. Stop feeling like you need to learn Python or JavaScript before you can build something. Start building right now with the domain expertise you already possess. Your deep knowledge of your specific industry, that is the real valuable asset here, not your knowledge of coding syntax. AI has graduated from being just a simple writing assistant to a literal software builder. And those who realize this first and actually start applying it are going to have a massive competitive edge.
I seriously challenge you to try this yourself today. Open up any of the tools we've discussed, think of that one annoying, repetitive task you've always wished you had a custom app for, describe it in plain English, and just watch what happens. You will absolutely surprise yourself. The technical barriers that used to hold non-coders back are completely gone. So the only question left is, what will you build first?